Hello and welcome to this special edition of 11Alive Investigates. I'm your host, Senior Investigative Reporter Rebecca Lindstrom. Join us for the next half hour as we go deep inside stories, shedding light on issues impacting our community's daily lives. From failing federal programs to cars collecting your personal data. These are the investigative stories you'll only see on 11Alive. To kick things off, we're taking you straight on our roads and highways as we investigate law enforcement officers arrested for DUI. According to data we compiled, hundreds of officers have been arrested for DUI in the last 5 years. And investigative reporter Savannah Levins found the punishment widely varies. Take a look.
You been drinking tonight?
Yes.
Every 39 minutes,
Blah, 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 blah.
someone in the U.S.
Kind of smell the alcohol a little bit.
dies in a drunk driving crash.
You think he crashed?
But what happens when those sworn to serve and protect
I'm a police officer too.
I got friends that work with you all.
are themselves the danger behind the wheel?
He's drunk. That sucks for him.
11Alive Investigates found in the last 5 years, 290 law enforcement officers were arrested for DUI.
Okay, well, spin around for me. You got an arrest for DUI this time.
Of those, about 30 eventually had their law enforcement certifications revoked.
I'm just going to let you know.
The other 260
I'm in the academy.
were allowed to remain in law enforcement.
I work for DeKalb. I work in law enforcement too.
I think the public has the right to know that the people that are doing this job are held to a high standard.
Chris Harvey is executive director of the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, or POST, the agency determining whether to revoke an officer's certification.
This council has taken a basic position that if an officer is involved in a DUI from a POST perspective, they're generally given a chance to accept probation, pay a fine, usually attend some drug or alcohol awareness training, and then continue on with their career.
In Georgia, any additional reprimands are at the discretion of the agency employing them.
It was everything from a 5% pay decrease to a demotion to a promotion to moving to a civilian position. How is it possible that there's such a huge difference in how these different agencies are approaching this?
Well, because each agency is autonomous and they have their ability to set their own standards for things.
So how many officers were terminated by their agency following a DUI arrest? 18%.
18%.
18%.
I guess that's why they do it, yeah.
We broke the news to neighbors in Gwinnett that the person who smashed into their mailboxes last year was a deputy driving his patrol car drunk, who then fled the scene.
They didn't stop.
Will you blow into a preliminary breath test?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
Come on, guys.
Why is it the agency of their brothers making the decision of what happens to their job?
We're on the same side, man. He told me, hey, look, go the other way.
The fact that, an officer may be involved in DUI is something that really should be looked at, but it's something that people do all the time.
Would it be possible to standardize in some way via the agencies, what punishments are?
Not unless the legislature did something.
I know he's a police officer. There's still a limit on that.
Absolutely.
You know that.
The public trust is paramount. Police officers are not above the law.
We can't be out here getting people DUI and then we do it ourselves.
Because punishment varies so widely, we asked more than a dozen local agencies about their policies surrounding DUI arrests. You can find the responses for everyone who replied on 11alive.com/investigates. Part of 11Alive Investigates' mission is to expose government's broken promises. That includes broken promises to help people injured by COVID-19 related treatments like vaccines. In this next story, we show you how millions of dollars have been spent on federal programs administration, while only thousands have been used to help the people it was designed to serve. Government accountability. Has the program functioned the way you expected?
I would argue the program hasn't functioned at all.
Randy Seegers is talking about the CICP, Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. It is the federal government's promise to reimburse unpaid medical bills and lost wages for injuries associated with COVID-related care.
And I woke up and could not move from the chest down.
Randy found himself paralyzed from the chest down 10 days after getting the COVID-19 vaccine in September 2021. Here's a quick comparison of his life before.
Very active. My wife would always laugh at me and say, you know, you never sit down.
And now you spend a lot of time sitting.
Almost all of my time sitting.
Randy says doctors diagnosed him with transverse myelitis, an immune system disorder that may have been triggered by the vaccine. He is one of the 13,000 people to file a claim with the CICP.
For a while, every time I called, the same person answered.
That's because for a while, there were only 4 people working in the office. Now 11Alive Investigates has learned there are 38. At this congressional hearing in February, Georgia Representative Rich McCormick asked the CICP director what that means for people like Randy.
How many claims are we processing per month now?
So in the year 2023, we processed 90 claims per month over that year.
Well, that number might not sound so bad. 98% of those claims were denied, mostly because of a simple filing deadline. Of the 52 claims approved, only 13 have received any compensation.
I just don't think it's right. I think we need to streamline this process.
Representative McCormick did talk with the CICP director earlier this year after we made his office aware of what was going on. In fact, we've told every U.S. representative and senator in Georgia. 9 responded. Representative Buddy Carter expressed frustration that millions of taxpayer dollars were going to a program failing the people it was created to help. But no one had concrete solutions, and most lawmakers referred those impacted to contact their office. While that can't hurt,
is there like an insurance company that's just looking for reasons not to pay you?
Alan Story says it may not help either. We have followed his claim for 2 years. Despite reaching out to Senator Ossoff's office, their case is trapped in medical review, like everybody else, which brings us back to the same place we started.
There seems to be no accountability.
Up next, aging out of foster care without the help that could keep them from becoming homeless.
I was literally in here starving. Like, I didn't know what to do.
11Alive investigates why Georgia failed to use 99% of federal housing aid available to the state, leaving former foster kids in a difficult position. Welcome back, and thank you for joining 11Alive Investigates. I'm Rebecca Lindstrom. From foster care to building a life of your very own without anyone's help. Right now, we're giving you an inside look at why Georgia's former foster kids say the state has failed them, while millions of federal funds that could have helped sat unclaimed.
I'm sorry about it being hot in here.
Don't mistake what you're about to hear.
They never came to fix our air conditioner.
For complaining.
This is the kitchen.
Because after 21 years,
this is just the bathroom.
Tajay Pennington finally gets to say,
and this is my room.
Mine.
My Xbox. I love playing the game.
Not much, but more than she's ever had.
Where does your roommate sleep?
Right there on that mattress in the corner.
Over here?
Yeah.
Better than the circumstances that landed her in Georgia's foster care system at 15.
It wasn't a home. It was more so of a prison. Like, she used to put a bar on my door and I wasn't able to come out. Like, I used to be in my room for months at a time. The police used to come and stuff. They used to tell me that they would get me out the situation that I was in and they would never come back to help me. And I remember, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
It's been 5 months since Tajay aged out of foster care and had to make it on her own.
Turned 21. Got the apartment and that's it. They helped me drop my stuff off and then they left. I was literally in here starving. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I still don't know what to do.
5 days a week at her $12 an hour job wasn't enough to keep the bills paid, or the recent eviction notice from her door.
I'm really scared, but there's a lot of homeless people out there, so at least I won't be the only one.
Thank you, boss man.
Social work researchers estimate more than 40% of foster youth will face homelessness within 2 years of leaving the system. A statistic Tajay is days from joining.
It's like feeling like your parent has abandoned you, because essentially the state of Georgia was their parent.
Pam Parrish is a foster parent and founder of Connections Homes, a nonprofit connecting mentors with young people aging out of care.
If you don't even know kind of where to start, you're going to end up in this cycle of homelessness, poverty, incarceration.
That's why the federal government introduced the Foster Youth to Independence, or FYI, voucher program in 2019, providing up to 36 months of rental assistance for young people like Tajay.
This year, Georgia's eligible to receive 769 FYI vouchers, but we've only received 3 obtained by Brunswick and Albany. That's 0.005% of the nearly $12.8 million available this year.
You've got this big pool of money sitting here, and you've got this big pool of kids, and there's this huge gap in between because there's no one who understands how the HUD vouchers work.
The FYI program requires the state welfare agency, DFACS, work with local housing authorities to apply. First, by supplying a list of eligible Georgia youth who have recently aged out of care. But a DFACS spokesperson told us such a list doesn't exist.
Did anyone with DFACS actually set a meeting with you?
No.
Never.
On a state level, DFACS admits they don't track these young people after they age out, telling 11Alive investigates they're, quote, working to establish a centralized process. Nonprofits like Connections tell us DFACS has never requested help identifying eligible youth.
There's tons of independent living, transitional living programs that are working with this population of youth that can solve the identification of youth problem.
We reached out to all 13 Georgia housing authorities that are currently eligible for FYI vouchers. Only 2, Atlanta and DeKalb, said they plan to apply for the vouchers soon. Others, like Fulton and Decatur, said they're focusing their resources on other programs. Nearly all said they hadn't heard from DFACS about the FYI program at all until August 1st of this year. The exact same day we first reached out to DFACS about this story.
It would have helped me be in the space where I don't have to worry about where my next meal or where I'm going to lay my head. Instead of thinking about all this, I can think about what I can do to become better for society.
Whew. If Atlanta Housing does obtain vouchers, Tajay could qualify if they find her. Until then, she's holding on as long as she can to hope and what's hers.
It's just material things, you know what I mean? At least they didn't take my soul.
Straight ahead, a dangerous and sometimes deadly trend on the rise in Georgia and across the country.
Once he pulled out his gun, I got back in the car and left.
After the break, our next investigation looks at road rage shootings and what you can do to protect yourself. Across the U.S., there has been a 400% increase in road rage shootings in the last decade. Metro Atlanta is feeling that increase as well. Our next investigation highlights the voices of those who say they came face to face with another driver's gun.
Atlanta 911.
She pointed his gun at me at a stop.
Please. This man pulled a gun out on me.
He got out of the vehicle and walked to the vehicle.
Calls for help from across Atlanta.
He said the guy got out of his car and shot him twice.
What is the location of the emergency?
APD responding to drivers who say someone shot at them in a moment of road rage.
Someone just pointed a gun at me in the car.
And I have a female that was grazed by a bullet.
She pulled out her pistol. Tossed it in her face and threatened to kill her.
He got out of the car, came up to your vehicle, put it at your head.
Brendan Faison was driving in Gwinnett when he was changing lanes and cut off another driver.
And he said, get the F off the road.
Faison says the driver kept harassing him and his wife, so he pulled over, ready to settle it with a fist fight.
Once he pulled out his gun, I got back in the car and left. I ain't finna I ain't Superman. I can't take a bullet.
That's when he heard the sound of gunfire. APD Lieutenant April White.
This is a problem that we are experiencing across the country, and it boils down to a lack of conflict resolution.
You better get back in that car. You better get back in that car. What you say?
We pulled police reports and found at least 20 gun-related road rage incidents in Atlanta. 7 resulted in damage to the victim's car, and 8 people were either injured or killed. In Gwinnett, Faison was one of 4 people who say they came face-to-face with another driver's gun.
I'm owner of Atlanta Anger Management.
Richard Taylor works with many of those drivers, court-ordered to holster their temper.
They got caught up in the moment, that they were pushed.
Taylor said one thing that really stuck with me.
In court-ordered anger management, I'd say 90% of the people think they're the victim. So they don't have any accountability for their actions.
His advice, when you get in the car, think about what irritates you the most about traffic, and then prepare for it. Someone is going to drive too slow in the fast lane. Then tell yourself, I don't have to react. I can take a deep breath and find a safe way around.
If you become a victim of road rage, so number 1, get to a place of safety. Secondly, take note of the license plate, the make and model of the vehicle.
And instead of trying to get ahead, slow down. And if needed, get off the road.
He put his car on the side of my car like this. Like he was actually scratching my car.
Faison says his ordeal ended with his car spinning into a guardrail. The damage cost him a major construction job, and he had to find the money for a new truck.
I'm just trying to provide for my family, bro. That's it.
And his wife, pregnant at the time, went to the hospital.
At the end of the day, all that matters is me getting home safe to my family.
Next, how your vehicle may be collecting all kinds of sensitive information about you and what consumers can do about it. Welcome back. As a driver, you may not be aware of it, but modern cars could be collecting your data and then handing it off to someone else. 11Alive's Liza Lucas is digging into the data problem and how consumers can protect themselves.
Modern cars have the ability to capture all types of data.
Our dad, he likes to track us. He's like wanting us to be safe in the city and stuff like that.
The trackers, cameras, and sensor technology can add to drivers' comfort, convenience, and safety. But let's take a closer look. A 2023 report from the Mozilla Foundation researched 25 car brands, noting cars can collect medical info, genetic info, how fast you drive, where you're going, even the songs you play. The growing question, do you know where all your data is going?
It tells where you go, it tells how fast you go, it tells when you brake and when you don't. And that information can be, and increasingly is, being sold to insurance companies and data brokers.
Justin Brookman is Director of Technology Policy at Consumer Reports, part of the effort examining how driver data is being used. The 25 brands Mozilla Foundation researched all earned the nonprofit's Privacy Not Included warning label, also finding that 19 of those car brands say they can sell your data.
Cars are just big computers on wheels. And like desktop computers or mobile phones, they collect a ton of information about us, and they can also share a ton of information about us. And a lot of times we don't even know it's happening.
To be honest, it's not something that I've really thought about. However, now that we are having the conversation, I do kind of feel like it's a little bit of an invasion of privacy.
Right now, there are no federal comprehensive privacy laws, but there is action in the courts. In June, several class action lawsuits were consolidated in Georgia, accusing GM of collecting driver data without consent and sharing it or selling it to third parties.
Once you've got this type of litigation going on.
Jessica Sino is a partner with Crevelin and Horst. She specializes in cybersecurity and is not affiliated with the lawsuit, but anticipates it could lead lead to a settlement influencing future standards.
And then what does that settlement produce? It produces more upfront information, more informed consents, opt-in to these types of data collection and data sharing types of services.
In the meantime, experts say be careful what you agree to when purchasing a new vehicle. Visit the settings in your car to see if data sharing settings can be turned off. And be careful with apps on your phone.
Because they might be sharing information about what sort of driving you do as well.
In Atlanta, Liza Lucas, 11Alive News.
We reached out to GM, the company, saying they cannot comment on pending litigation. But this type of concern is not isolated to any one brand. In May, the Federal Trade Commission released a statement writing, car manufacturers and all businesses should take note that the FTC will take action to protect consumers against the illegal collection, use, and disclosure of their personal data. 11Alive Investigates thanks you for joining us for the last half hour. Whether it's a focus on broken systems and promises or bad behaviors from those in power in our communities, we want to hear from you. If you have a tip for the 11Alive Investigates team, call us at 404-873-9111 or email us at investigates@11alive.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential. Thanks for joining 11Alive Investigates. We'll see you next time.